Joe and I were looking up. We watched this really shitty movie. It's like one of those monster movies.
Yeah.
But it was
Sharknado?
No, it was
Sharknado.
Go Shark. K-A-W.
What?
It was a town getting attacked by ravens.
Oh, really?
So it's like the birds.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just birds.
they're really
A
shitty.
bird's
And the
rip-off.
guy from Boondock Saints was in it.
Oh, really?
Not Norman Reedus, the other guy.
The other one, yeah.
Oh yeah, and we were trying to figure out what the collective noun for ravens is. Turns out it's an unkindness of ravens.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Unkindness?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and then
appropriate.
We found a lot of strange ones for birds.
I started Googling them.
Crows.
Like, there's a list. There's
Murder of crows. That's the only one.
Murder of crows, yeah.
a drunken ship or a drunk ship of cobblers.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That
Yeah.
sounds like a really good dessert.
It is
A
Cobblers.
really good dessert.
Yeah, a drunk ship. Or
A
drunken
drunk ship. A drunk
So
ship.
Joe wanted to make that into a band name. A drunken ship of cobblers.
Yeah.
A drunken ship.
That
of
is a
cobblers.
particular type of bird, I guess.
I didn't look it up. but
Isn't
I just-
cobbler also something else?
I just pictured a bunch of.
Yeah, it's a dessert.
You
drunk for cobbler,
What's a
dads.
shoemaker called?
That's a cobbler
Oh,
also.
yeah, there you go.
So I just pictured a bunch of drunk guys on a ship making shoes.
It's a shoemaking ship.
The most interesting ship ever.
And on that note, let's start it off. I'm Adam like usual. We have newcomer Sandra, our first girl on the podcast.
Yay!
Groundbreaking. Anyways,
Adam is also a girl. The joke is on you guys! No.
that's when I take off my mask. Anyways,
No
we
more
got
masks.
Kyle, Matt, and Sean. Dodds, what have you been playing this week?
I finally bought Magic 2014.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Really?
Uh,
It's a video game?
Well, yeah, he bought the PC
I
Magic
used to
game.
test
Really?
magic.
really?
Like Magic Tricks or
like-
Magic the
No,
Gathering?
the game had
Oh,
to
yeah.
do localization testing. So
Really?
It was just checking the text.
It's
I didn't
because she
actually
knows
play.
Dutch.
That's fantastic.
It's a pretty good game.
On that
It was
Yeah.
$3 and some odd cents on the
Oh,
Steam
nice.
sale.
Gotta love Steam sales.
Yes.
And there's a lot of cool game modes. Like you could play a sealed pack game, and you get 6 booster packs, and it's all random cards. You gotta make a deck with what they give you, and you gotta play against the
sick.
computer over and over again.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet. That's what I've been doing. I'm getting my ass kicked because I'm not very good at deck building. But I just really wish there was a way I could transfer my physical card collection into the game.
Yeah.
Because
I
it's
think that would be cool.
Yeah, it's like just to jam my rares into the CD slot or something. But
Pictures, bro. Pictures.
yeah, like you can buy booster packs online. It's like I just bought like $50 worth of cards yesterday,
Like real cards.
and
yeah.
you want me to buy the same thing on this?
Well, did you ever play Eye of Judgments?
Judgment, yeah. I think
It
that's
was
right.
Eye of Judgment. It was a PS3 game where you bought physical cards, and it was like almost like a strategy card game. You had like the PlayStation 3 camera over this mat, and you put the cards down, and then like little creatures would
I heard about that.
materialize
Yeah.
on the screen, and then you would move cards around. It was like a strategy card game. You have to try and take over areas or whatever. I can't remember how to play. It's been 5 years.
It's been a while.
It's an old game,
It's been a
but
very long time.
I still have some of the cards around if you want to see them, but
Oh, yeah.
I'll show you afterwards. But anyways, that's one way people did stuff like that. If you had like a camera, but you use live, live, right? Because you can just take a picture online.
Yeah, but I was thinking because when you buy a pack, you get I think it's 15 cards, and you get a little ad card in the back. It's either it could be a creature token, or it's like look up this to find your Friday Night Magic destination. Just put a fucking QR code on there, and let me scan it with my phone and give me my booster pack in the game.
Yeah.
Which would be great, because there's also MTG Online, which is Wizards actually put that out.
Didn't they close that?
No,
I
it's
thought they
still,
were
it's
shutting
still
it
a
down.
thing. It's still a thing. But again, you have to buy the cards. And I'm just like,
That's
I already
fair.
buy the physical ones. Why am I paying
Yeah.
more?
Yeah.
But it's a really good game. It's good. It's if you want to learn how to play Magic, it's really good for that. It teaches you all the different phases when you can use it, when you can use certain cards at what
that's good.
point, and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. Have you tried it online, or just
No,
content with getting your ass kicked by the computer?
I'm content with getting my ass kicked by the computer. But and I didn't play it, but I was at Renault's place over the weekend after hockey, and he bought the remastered Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh my
And
god.
he was playing. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I was getting frustrated for him because the controls
Yeah.
and the mechanics are
Yeah.
very finicky.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to climb the Colossus and he's just like, I want to go this way, but the guy decides I'm going to go into the
Yeah.
wall,
Yeah.
up, and
I remember that game being pretty frustrating.
yeah.
I remember you had to go up a ramp on the lake and then jump
Yeah.
onto the middle, and I must have fallen
Me
10
too.
times in a
Yeah,
row.
it doesn't really react
And then
very well.
going up again.
And the camera just swings around at
Yeah,
random
Because
intervals.
it's trying to keep the
Behind
Colossus in view and
Yeah.
stuff.
But it looks really good.
It does look great. I'm sure it's aged really well. I actually want to go back into it and not attack the colossi and just sort of explore because apparently a lot of the map.
Is colossi really the plural of colossus?
It is, yeah.
Must be.
Shadow, yeah, colossi. Yeah.
Even if it isn't, it's
And if I'm wrong, then you can just add to the list of things on it.
Can we make that list?
Yeah, because they'd actually had regions that they made for other types of colossi.
Colossus.
And they ended up removing them for various reasons, of which some are that you couldn't actually navigate the creature because it was just impossible. And so they kept a lot of the terrain, but there's
nothing there.
creatures there.
Yeah.
And so you can just visit these
What would have been cool is if there's like little
sanctuaries.
chests in the world that you can
Colossi?
explore for.
Colossuses or colossi?
And is it a murder of colossi?
What is the collective noun of Colossus?
Yeah. But it would be cool if they had some sort of like, exploratory item that you can find.
No.
But it would be cool if they
No!
had them. Why not?
Or what's wrong with the video
No,
game
because it would
world.
give you a reason to look for it.
Exactly. That's why you should not exist.
I like looking for stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Looking for
But there's
stuff is
just,
good.
but the newer Assassin's Creed is just like, oh, if you take 3 steps forward, it's like, oh, there's another side mission. Take another step forward, there's another side mission. It's like literally just populated by side missions.
I saw a cartoon today, and it's like I don't know which game it's from. It's 2 characters talking. It's like so and so gives you soft sand, and you're just like,
yeah.
you fucking kidding me?
Soft
That's a
sand.
Pokemon.
Is that what it
it's
was?
like in the desert.
Yeah.
It's like,
They do have that in Pokemon games. I think it's for ground type Pokemon.
that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And I saw the new game on Steam. It's in early access today. Next car game or some shit like that.
Wow.
Next card.
Yeah,
game?
it looks pretty interesting. It's basically like a racing game with like really realistic demolition crashes. The physics look
Oh,
really
shit.
cool. It's
Okay.
$10 on Steam right now. I might pick that up.
They just want to see crashes. That's what
I just want to fucking smash some cars. That's all I
Burnout,
want.
man. You should
Burnout.
burn
They,
Yeah.
they-
Burnout's
they need to
fun.
make a new destruction derby game
Like
then.
Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
out. Oof, yeah. They really didn't do that well by the newest Twisted Metal game. I don't understand.
The last
It
few
looked
ones.
ugly. It wasn't even
Because
that
it's just-
fun. It was
The
just
concept just isn't that fun anymore. Like
Yeah, it was awesome when like
Battle Arena.
PS1
like,
was a thing.
Yeah.
There's just so many better games. Like I'd rather play GTA.
Yeah.
Or you can do that in GTA.
I spent
Yeah, they
I
should have
spent
that
an
mode.
odd amount of time in GTA following the rules of the law.
Me too. I had a good time with
You
that.
just drive around. Oh, red light.
Oh God.
For the second half of that game, irrespective of what I was doing, if ever I would even dent my car, I would just park it somewhere and steal someone else's car.
I thought you were gonna say light it on fire.
I just
God.
couldn't live with myself for having that dent in the car.
No,
it was
it's
just
even
very
worse at night when you crash in the front and then your headlights
Lights
still
don't
go
work.
out and you're like, fuck.
That's why I
Can't
love
see.
fucking is it Trevor's car? It's
Yeah.
got the floodlights on top.
Oh, God.
They never get fucked up.
Yeah, it's funny.
And the roll cage, which you
Yeah.
can install in it.
All right, Sandra, what have you been playing?
I just finished Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds,
Oh, yeah?
and it's really fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
100%ed it.
Wow,
Already.
that's impressive.
What other than the story and a couple of side missions, what is there to 100% in Zelda?
There, we have to get all the heart pieces. And
Okay.
you have to get all the like side items like the bottles, and you have to get the Mai. You know, like did you play like
Is it like the fairy?
no, it's remember the spiders and
Okay, yeah, the Majora's.
Oracle and
Oh, okay. Yeah, the spider thingies.
yeah, you have to collect
The
the,
skull.
fire.
Yeah, the
Skulltula.
The
Yeah,
Skulltulas,
they were in.
exactly,
Yeah, they
So
were
it's
in.
kind of like that,
Yeah, okay.
but it's little octopuses things.
Little
What's it called?
octopuses.
Octopi.
Hi.
Octopi.
We're
A
rolling.
drum ship of octopi.
And so you have to get 100 of those.
Really? Oh
And
yeah, they're always
they make
100.
your
Eh?
items better. So
Okay.
you go when every 10 one of your items gets improved, and
Oh.
at the end you get like a special attack.
Do you
Okay.
play a lot of Zelda games?
Yes.
And
So-
how it, because I've sort of distanced myself from Zelda. I don't know why. Do not ask me why I've distanced I still
Why?
to this day want to play Majora's Mask. I'm waiting for.
You haven't played Majora?
I know.
I
I
He
know.
haven't
never
played
had.
Majora's
He never had an
Mask, actually.
N64.
Really? Yeah, I've never played Ocarina of Time, even though
Oh.
it's
I played
on the
that one,
3DS,
yeah.
and I partially got the 3DS to play it, and I just didn't. Anyways, but
He's also
I've
never
always,
played Wind Waker or any of
So
the
you
I
other
have
haven't
played
played any
Wind
Zeldas.
Zelda
Waker.
game.
I've
When did you-
borrowed a GameCube, a memory card, and a controller from 3 different people to
I've
play.
never played it. I've never
That's like a Wind
Yeah.
Waker scavenger hunt.
It was like a scavenger hunt. And anyways, so
wait, which Zelda games have you played then?
like 2. No, the
Which one?
the one on the Game Boy. I think it's called Link's Awakening. No, that's the
Link to the
Super
Past?
Nintendo one. Link to the Past.
That's
Thank you.
the port from SNES. That's
Oh,
the
no, no.
first, no, not that one.
Not that one. It was a Game Boy exclusive one
Are you sure it's not
called
Awakening?
Link's. I think it's Link's Awakening.
'Cause that was
Link's
one of the first ones.
I'm pretty
That's
sure
the
it's
first
Link's
one.
Awakening. Anyway, doesn't matter. I played all the Game Boy ones, and I like the fact that this one here is very
It's like
open.
it's exactly like Link to the Past, right?
Well, it's more old
exactly
school.
the same world,
Yeah.
and you walk around. It's really
You go
good.
Paper
But
Mario.
That's
people-
the first game I ever played. was
People
Link to
were
the Past.
saying that it's like the best one in a very long time. Do you
Yes.
agree with that or no?
That's where I was
It
getting
depends on
at.
what you like, though, because I really like the kind of throwback to Link to the Past Super
Mhm.
Nintendos, but I also really, really enjoyed Twilight Princess,
Right.
Skyward Sword. So
Skyward
the-
Sword's supposed to be very good
yeah.
as well.
So they're completely different, but I enjoy both. And I don't
Good
know. It's
answer.
hard to say. It's completely different. Apples and oranges.
We're looking for black and white here
Yeah.
in a
So-
very complicated world, obviously. So.
Yeah, and I've been playing Risk of Rain. That's the other game I've been playing. It's like
Yeah.
a little.
It's a roguelike, yeah?
Yeah,
It's supposed to be really good, though. Or it's,
It's really
slightly different than usual roguelikes.
I don't know.
Well, have you played, like, FTL?
No,
You never played FTL?
Andy plays FTL.
FTL isn't really a roguelike, though.
FTL is the definition of roguelike.
Yes, it
You
is.
literally start off and die really quick and then restart.
That is,
It's,
I was under the
yeah,
impression roguelike was every step you take, someone else takes a step.
No.
That was Rogue,
Really?
the first roguelike. That's why it's
Mm.
called Rogue-like.
Rogue-esque.
Okay, rogue-esque.
No.
Anyways, no, this is more like a... It's very short sequences, and you try and get as far as possible.
I can
Yeah.
understand.
Well, it's like then Risk of Rain, and
Okay.
that's it gets harder. Like the longer you're on a level, the harder it gets.
Mhm.
But if you leave too quick, you don't get all the items. And you're gonna be really
yeah.
weak when you
That's
go to the
what
next
happens
one.
in FTL too.
Yeah,
Literally,
that
the play,
sounds like FTL.
the way to play FTL is you have to be on the border of getting caught by the enemy constantly because you want to visit as many systems as possible to get as much resources to buy as much stuff,
Yeah.
or else you can't fight the last boss. Like you can get the last boss, but you're gonna get ass raped
I've
by
heard a
it.
lot of
I
people
got
have a lot of trouble
completely
with that last
destroyed.
boss.
Sorry,
I've heard a lot of people have a lot of trouble with that last
yeah.
boss.
My brother beat one stage of him because you have to fight him like 3 or 4
Yeah,
times.
in a row.
Stupid.
In a row.
It's really dumb. But so, like, how does it work between different playthroughs? Because have you ever played Rogue Legacy?
No.
In that one, every time you die, you get the inheritance of the money that you made from the descendant that you're going to in the next playthrough, and then you can buy upgrades so that next playthroughs are easier.
No, it's not like that. But you do unlock when you play. You do unlock new items that
Mhm.
might drop when you play the next time.
Oh,
And,
okay.
like, they're better items.
That's kind of cool.
So you
actually.
basically
and
start
you
off
unlock
fresh.
new classes. So there's like 10 different classes or 9 different classes.
Wow.
or
That
Oh,
something.
okay.
sounds, that's a,
Yeah, so you can choose your class. You start with one, you unlock more. and
But you always start
different
fresh every
Yeah.
playthrough. Okay. How long is each average playthrough?
At first, it was like 10 minutes. when we
Yeah,
died.
that's usually what
And
it's
then-
like.
I think we made it to the end. I died actually, but I was watching Andy and Nick play because even when you die, if you're in a group co-op,
Oh, they continue?
you get
You can play co-op too?
Yeah, it's co-op. It's
Oh,
4-player.
that's
yeah,
cool.
It's really, yeah, so we were playing 4 of us, and me and this other guy died, and just watched the other 2 play, and we got the achievement for finishing the
Nice.
game.
Wow. That's
So
cool,
we did.
actually.
No, it was really fun. Yeah, so,
That's really
That's
cool.
how to
The
do
full playthrough was probably about 45 minutes, an
Okay.
hour or something.
oh,
That's cool.
awesome.
But it depends, because you can go back and do older levels and kind of level up and get more money, get more items.
So that, it feels a little bit more like a Diablo type game. I know it's sort of like a
Yeah, a little bit.
Like a Gauntlet Legends deal.
yeah.
Oh, what Legends?
Gauntlet Legends?
Which is badass.
Gauntlet Legends.
You've never heard
Gauntlet
of
Legends.
God,
that? That's such a good game.
That's like one of the best
good.
games ever.
Yeah.
I only remember the Jester. That is the game I'm talking
Jester.
about. Yeah, that was a good game.
Diablo 3 is very much. Diablo 3 on consoles.
I want to own that, but it's never going to go down in value. I feel
Well,
like it's
eventually
always going to be
it'll be lower.
$15.99 for the rest of my life.
It's
I
not
was
that
like,
great though.
I'm going to be 85 and be like,
No,
this
it's
fucking
was-
game.
It was $79.99 at first.
it's supposed to be better
Oh,
on console,
really?
right?
Ah,
Then what, then
yeah,
on
it's
PC?
supposed
It
to
was
be. Yeah.
$80.
Well, I have it
Yeah.
on PC.
That's
Yeah,
why
there's no
everyone.
auctions.
That's why everyone was pissed because it felt like the game was originally designed to be on console. Wow,
Probably.
I only play consoles, so I mean, that's
you don't
good
really
for me.
care. Yeah.
I don't care. I that's good that they're pandering to me as opposed to you guys.
You bastard.
It's excellent. I recommend
The
it.
Really?
superior,
Huh?
the superior race.
Couch co-op.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
It just sucks that when like you pause to look at your shit, the whole game pauses, so whoever else is playing has to wait for you to
Oh,
get
that's
through.
very
And you're just like,
unpleasant.
I
That is
It
very-
kinda
that is
sucks.
I got a yellow.
That's very not good.
It kind of sucks that 2 people can't look at it at the same time.
Yeah, imagine
Because
that
that's
with
what
4.
they used to. Yeah, but with 2 people with older like PS2 games that were like that, like top down like hack and slashes, dungeon crawlers. They had that you would half of it would be your inventory and the other half would be your character. You can spin them around, look at the equipment. But when another person pressed start, if you were playing co-op, then it would bring that person's equipment up over the character. Because you don't necessarily need to see your character,
Yeah.
but both people can look at their equipment.
Well, it's like the Borderlands menus would be perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
they don't.
Anyways, so I was playing more Assassin's Creed. I'm going to try and finish it tomorrow so I don't have to play it ever again.
I saw you fight the big ship.
The big ship, yeah, I was fighting a legendary ship, and I literally had no health
Yeah.
when I beat it.
It was
No health.
zero.
My bar was nothing.
How much time have you put into that game now?
Over 30-something hours, 35 maybe.
That's not bad.
That's pretty
No,
good.
it's not that bad, but I want it to be done with. I'm gonna play like a good 6-7 hours tomorrow.
But you
I
feel
think I
like,
can finish
you
it
feel like
tomorrow.
it's been an excellent experience.
It's been a lot of fun, but now it's starting to drag on, and certain parts of it outweigh other parts. Like, I still like exploring, I still like sailing around, blowing up ships.
He wants to be a pirate.
Yeah, I understand what Richard means by saying, like, eventually you just destroy the ships and take half the bounty because you don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like, actually fighting ships takes a while. But one thing that really pisses me off, that I have absolutely no clue why they do this, and at first it didn't really bother me, but after doing so many times, it's really annoying.
By the way, I'm going to see this when I start playing the game.
Yeah.
God damn you, Adam!
It only takes a while. What happens is when you're doing the bell dive missions or whatever, like
The sharks.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just in general, all the hostile creatures are really annoying. What's the point of that? Literally, you go around and there's so many fucking sharks,
Yeah.
and not only is it that if they see you, like, there's a little timer, so they'll come after you, but if you get too close, they'll automatically just hit you,
Yeah.
okay? And then you can die. But the thing is, dying does nothing. You literally just restart with everything that you already got, and then you go for the last pieces. So you could die like 5 times, and it won't change anything.
Right.
So what's the point of adding all these enemies to make the entire
To
thing
piss you
incredibly
off.
annoying when it doesn't change anything? Like, if I can understand if dying
Such a fatalistic
fucked
way of
everything
looking at it.
no, but what the
You should
what
just start in the
like,
game, just
physically the
end for
point?
you.
You just win. You just win.
Well, this is title screen. Game over. You win.
Well, this was stimulating.
Worth
Yes.
my $60.
I win again.
No, but the thing is, I would enjoy just exploring the underwater. It's
Yeah.
like exploring, like,
yeah, I could see
if
what
you're on an island, a tropical island, doing the exact same thing. There's chests, there's those fragments, there's treasure chests, there's literally everything on a tropical island that you find underneath the water,
Yeah.
except for shit that can kill you that you can't defend yourself from.
That's true.
If they gave me a knife and I can kill every single one of those fucking sharks underwater, fine. I'd be happy. But instead, they give you absolutely nothing, and it doesn't change anything if you die, so all it is fucking annoying.
And scene.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I agree.
It's good.
Because there is no way to attack. At least if you're on the land, you have your guns, your sword, whatever,
Yeah.
you can fight
But
shit.
look,
But underwater, you
it's
can't do
back-
anything.
No,
Back
exactly.
when? What's the year supposed to be?
It doesn't matter.
And
Give me a
as soon as
knife.
what? It's like a giant fucking
A
tank.
knife when
Give
you're
me a
a
knife.
shark.
No, he's your nothing.
You start to swing your
He's nothing,
arm and the
he's
shark
nothing.
just goes around you
He's
and hits
underwater
you.
and
You're
nothing.
just swimming in
Yeah,
some
you're swimming.
pants.
No, no.
Serious.
He's a badass.
No, he for
With
sure.
no shirt on.
No.
How much sex do you get from that? You told me that I was swimming with sharks before
You would
collecting
have
loot.
my sex.
For
Yeah,
the-
there we go.
No, I was saying from the beginning, this guy's got all kinds of the bends. Because, like, he's obviously swimming up way faster than the bubbles are going. So the pressure in his bloodstream must be fucked
He
completely.
just gets back on the ship. He's like, ah.
You should be dying half the time. God.
Well, no, I thought you went down like a suit or something.
No, he went down. There's a giant bell that holds water.
Well,
And
it
then they
holds
throw
air,
down- it holds air,
It holds
water. It holds air, and they
That's
throw
a
down.
lot of water.
They throw
Ah, that
down
makes more
buckets.
sense now.
It's just a bell. You know,
Why
like
is
if
he
you put a
breathing
cup
this
in
water?
the
Why is this special water that he can...
he becomes Aquaman.
Yeah, they also throw down these buckets with rocks that hold air, so that you can swim
What?
to.
Oh, sweet air bucket.
That's actually kind of cool, though.
No, it's good.
Although if they're dropping and they know where you are, wouldn't they also know where the treasure is? Wouldn't you just
No,
have
no,
more
they
guys
just drop it
jumping?
randomly
Oh, so that's cool.
because
then.
there's like 8 of them all across the area.
That's pretty cool. And you have a zone? Is that the
Yeah,
zone?
it's a zone,
Oh, so
yeah.
that's pretty cool. And the
Because
zones
it's
are all
only near the
different?
shipwrecks.
Can you hide in the
But why are
bell?
there so many fucking
Sorry?
sharks in there? These fucking ships.
It's a
Can you
video
hide
game.
in the bell?
Yeah, you can hide in the
You
bell.
But
can
there's
hide
a
in the
limited amount of
barrels as
air.
well.
No, no, no. In the bell, there's an infinite amount of air for some reason. I think they
It doesn't
either
run out?
no, because I think there's like
There's a
there's a
tube.
tube
Yeah,
that
okay,
I
keeps
was gonna
feeding
say,
air.
He dies of carbon
The
monoxide.
buckets, the barrels, on the other hands, have a finite amount of air because as soon as you take it up, they start sinking because they're full of water.
Gotcha.
Ooh.
Anyways, Sean, what have you been playing this week?
I'm still playing Splinter Cell Blacklist, but
Okay.
I don't think they've been involved in the conversation. So I'm going to say I'm playing Splinter Cell Blacklist, which is the newest Splinter Cell game that came out.
Wow.
Might have been last year because
Well, it
we're
was
only
at the end of
10
last
days
year.
into this year.
It was
so-
like August, September, October.
Yeah. Anyways, it is very good. Very good. You actually don't think it'll be that good, but it plays a lot like a Born video game.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You, sir, have piqued my attention.
yes. And different play styles. You can do like uber stealth where you don't even actually engage with any of the enemies, and so it encourages you to sort of navigate the environment in these sort of inventive ways. Or you can go around stealthily killing people, or you can just engage in straight up firefights. And if you're doing straight up firefights, then it's a lot like the Rainbow Six games.
Mm.
Yeah, which is amazing because the AI is not like super smart, but it's does a lot of damage, so it encourages you to use like gadgetry and what have you. So, and there's a very competent co-op which I'm playing a lot with Matt. There's a horde mode co-op, which is cool
So
because
fun.
yeah, especially when you play on the hardest difficulty where you have to manage your resources and you don't actually
And you
have
die in
long
2 hits.
You die in 2 hits, exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Realistic. That's what it is.
Realistic, yeah. And overall, I have nothing but good things to say about
So
it.
what can you add from last week that's different? Any further impressions on the game or what?
The single player has a lot of replay value to it, which I don't think I've ever said for a video game in a long time, just because a lot of video games are like, okay, you can go through this again, but instead of being a mage, you'll be a warrior, like those
who
archetypes.
cares, right?
Who cares, exactly. But the maps actually, they're the same map, but you play through it completely differently if you're attacking everyone than you are if you're stealthing through it, and there's enough gadgets that it encourages you to play through multiple ways, and it's just a lot of fun. It feels like a really fun video game with a very strangely super pro-conservative American. Very
Of course.
strange.
No, yeah,
Very
of course,
strange.
'cause he-
Considering it's a Canadian
There's
game
just like
too,
this
but anyways.
borderline consistent racism in it. It's
Oh,
very,
really?
it's
It's
off-putting.
like
Yeah,
Bioshock Infinite.
a little bit, yeah.
The casual. Well, that's
Well,
not so. That's not
Yeah, but
very
that's
casual
like a
racism.
satire though. This is like
Yeah, that's Ken Levine being racist and pretending that he's not because he's portraying it in video games. This is like Tom Clancy when he was alive saying that, the Americans have the right to have surveilling their entire people.
That's a new
Surveillance.
word. Super surveillance.
Super surveillance.
yeah.
Super valent.
Anyways, that's off-putting.
Yeah,
Little,
the-
little
the main
propaganda
enemies
in your
are-
face.
Yeah,
kind
it
of
feels
thing.
it's very pro-American,
Well, that's it because they're against Middle Easterns, right? That's
Yeah,
the
they're
whole
the
idea.
enemy. Yeah, the whole premise is that the Americans have gone into so many different places in the world that there's this like terrorist sect that want the Americans to just go back home, which makes sense. It's very noble. But then it just explores it by these people being these monsters,
Terrorists.
just going around killing everyone, and then you don't really sympathize with them. Anyways, it's a good game. Everyone should play it.
I should check that.
Everyone
I
out.
haven't
should play
played
it.
Splinter Cell since Xbox One.
Oh
I-
yeah.
first
So like the
Xbox.
original Splinter
Like
Cell.
the
It
first
has
one that had a
changed
multiplayer.
completely.
Yeah, is it,
co-op,
what was the one before? Was it Conviction? Was the one
Conviction
before?
was the
Probably,
before, yeah.
which got a.
I have it, and it's still sealed.
Really? I haven't played
But
it.
apparently, it's amazing.
Well,
Yeah,
I actually
it
haven't beaten any other Splinter Cells. I played like 5 minutes of the latest one before this.
Yeah.
I always thought you were more of a Splinter Cell guy
No.
than Metal Gear.
No, I didn't play Metal
See, I
Gear
like
either.
Metal
I
Gear.
know.
It's tough.
No,
It's
but
tough.
I actually beat this one.
Eh.
It was fun.
But just to add to this point before we move on to Matt, it feels incredibly satisfying, irrespective of what playstyle you play through. If you can actually run up to someone, and if they turn around and see you, it's not like, oh, this guy sees me and I can't do anything to him. You can actually assassinate him when he sees you. You can assassinate people by jumping down on them. You
Oh, I
can
like
tag
that.
you.
That's my favorite thing to do in any video game.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Aerial assassination
And
is
they
the
actually say
best
it
thing
says
ever.
death from above.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then you push square and
Yeah.
you kill him.
And it's weird because a lot like Battlefield, where if people look at it, they're like, oh, this is kind of like a realistic game, but it isn't because it takes away a lot of the
Sure.
needless waiting in stealth games and just makes it a very
Yeah.
high octane adrenal
good.
stealth game where it still looks like it's a stealth game, but it doesn't sacrifice any of the fun in being a very good game.
It does happen sometimes, though.
Yeah.
If you want to play through that role of not touching
Well,
anybody, you,
but
you
I
actually
never
have
want
to
to do that.
Yeah.
No, you actually
No,
have
you
to
don't
sit there
have
and
to
wait
do
for them to finish their routines.
Yeah, which
Okay.
makes sense
Yeah,
because
it
people
does make
talk.
sense,
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, there is that, but I mean, it's very good.
Yeah.
Anyways, Matt, what have you been playing aside from Splinter
That's
Cell?
it.
That's
Well,
all
like you
you've been
said,
playing.
there's replay value to it, and we haven't even done multiplayer
Yeah, you're
yet.
playing like 3 times at this point.
I played a lot. I've gotten almost all
He's
the
not denying that.
trophies,
Okay.
except for the multiplayer and some co-op. Like I got all the other ones
I'm
because there's
hoping.
still DLC for the game.
Is
Because
it?
once I beat it, it's like leading up to whatever the story DLC is coming up next.
Really, there's still the story DLC. That's impressive.
Apparently, The Last of Us
Yeah.
DLC
Yeah,
is
it's
coming out in
more.
February, but it's supposed to be a prequel.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
it's
Really?
unfortunate.
It's unfortunate that it's a prequel.
Yeah.
A prequel
Why?
to before you start.
You're
later
playing
in the
her
game.
because there was a comic book that came out.
Yeah, exactly.
follows
No,
her.
exactly. It is before you start. I think it's supposed to elaborate on Ellie's character.
Okay.
No, that's it because there's a comic book already if you read it.
As her.
Yeah, like how she got to the where
Right.
she was in the
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and it follows her and her friend.
Mhm.
Oh,
Cool.
right. The friend who was talked about.
Yeah.
All right, on to discussions. This is going to be funny because the Wii U is a joke almost.
They made some sales. They made some.
Yeah,
Very
when
good sales.
Nintendo
Three
releases...
sales.
When
They tried
Nintendo-
really hard.
3DS made millions.
Yeah, 3DS. Not their...
Who cares?
Yeah, anyways. So,
Nintendo.
yes. So the Wii U, okay, they're talking about how the online is so bad, okay? Because it just has no infrastructure.
How bad is it?
Okay, how bad is it? Because it makes it harder for third parties to port games from the other next-gen systems. So, like, if they're making a PS4 and Xbox One game, right, not only is the Wii U like a inferior, like, hardware-wise, Like no, it's a fact that
No, I know, but
inferior hardware wise.
Yeah, it's just funny.
So not only do they have to like downscale it to port it over, right? The sheer amount of difference in the online, like how the servers work, how the entire infrastructure works, makes it a lot harder to port it over. And like people, when the system was coming out, people like developers, okay, they didn't actually name the developer. He wanted to stay anonymous. Was talking about. They kept talking to Nintendo and referencing Xbox Live and PSN to Nintendo, and Nintendo kept asking them for a more detailed explanation since nobody on the development team for the system used those systems. Like, how have none of them played a PS4 or PS3 or an Xbox 360? Like, none of them know how to, like, run a proper online system? Like, that seems almost impossible.
Yeah.
Like, the probability-wise, it's nearly impossible.
Also, they have a ton of licensing issues.
Isn't that frightening? They've become such a cult that they've just, like, focused on just...
They've receded into themselves.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
But it doesn't make sense. They're so far away from any part of, like, outside society that they're just like, we're going to do what we want.
This is where you think about it. How many of these weird, reclusive people does it take to create the Mario games today? I mean, how else could they be untainted by modern techniques or whatever types of things that they would incorporate into new Mario games?
See, that's the thing. Nintendo will continue to, like...
Well, we think that it's milking, but in actuality, these people go home and just play Nintendo things.
That's not what
and
I
all
meant
their
by
friends are playing the Sony PlayStation. Like, I've never heard of that before. How have you never heard of the Sony PlayStation?
That's not what I was going to get at. I didn't mean they were going to milk their series. I was saying that they're going to... You know, everyone else, exactly. Not everyone, not all third-party developers will use the Wii U to its potential, but Nintendo always will.
Yes.
And every single time they release a game, yes, they will sell more consoles, but at the same time, they need third-party support in order to actually thrive. No?
No, not necessarily.
Because they're Nintendo.
Right.
Because it prints.
Well, like I was saying, they have licensing issues with YouTube and all that.
But
no, that's because they're pricks.
Yeah, they won't let people stream, which I think is...
But let's ignore all of that.
No, but that probably is a big issue, because if people are advertising the games online constantly for PSN or whatever, for PlayStation and Xbox, they're not doing it for the Wii U. There's obviously an issue.
That's true. That's a good point.
Do you have a Wii U, Sandra?
I do not. I thought about getting one.
Yeah?
You should.
Just for
support the cause.
HD and, what's it called? Pikmin. Andy really wanted to play Pikmin.
But I mean, like you enjoy your 3DS, and I'm pretty sure Nintendo is pretty much living off of how well their portable systems do.
But it's so amazing. They release so many good games on it.
It's not. It's fucking region locked.
Yeah.
Nintendo DS is region locked. What the fuck?
I know.
The DS wasn't. The 3DS.
The 3DS is region locked. Like who? Why? Who thought that was a good? I travel with it. I went with it to England,
and
I
you
was
couldn't
like,
even get any of the games.
I couldn't buy a game. I only had one game on it.
Oh, really? You can't buy online?
You can't. No. Well, you can buy online.
Well, you can buy online.
I wanted to buy. Like,
you want to buy
a hard copy?
You can't put a cartridge in?
No, it's not. It's region locked.
It's region locked. The Nintendo
I did not know that.
is region locked. That pissed me off. Yeah, it pissed me off. Like, isn't the whole point you travel with it and you can buy games wherever? Like,
that's literally the reason you buy one.
Literally the point. That's literally the point. Yeah.
No, but it's weird because like I'm pretty like the last generation, like the PS3 wasn't even region locked. Like they seemed like companies were moving away from that. It's almost like a step backwards that Nintendo did that, which it seems like Nintendo is always doing that, taking a step backwards.
But it's working.
It's working.
It's working for the 3DS.
Yeah, for the 3DS. No, it's because it's the 3DS.
Because the 3DS literally prints money.
Yeah.
Figuratively prints money.
But like, how does it hurt game sales if it's region locked? Like, what's the point of region locking in the first place?
I feel, and I may be completely wrong and inaccurate in saying this, but I feel that the more arbitrary Nintendo sets rules, the more cultish they become, and the more cultish they become, the more popular
they're trying to take over the world.
No, but you introduce these really arbitrary rules where it's like, whenever you're playing the 3DS, you cannot be wearing a watch because it'll scan your wrist, and if you have a watch on, then it'll melt. Oh no! All right, I deserve that. I shouldn't have worn my watch.
Disorients the 3DS.
You have to be wearing at least 3 pieces of Nintendo gear.
Exactly.
Nintendo 3DS.
Have to be in the vicinity of a Wii U.
But I feel like that just encourages people to be even more in love with something. You know, if that makes any sense at all.
Oh yeah, it makes you feel special.
Exactly.
You're part of a club.
Exactly.
The Wii U club.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we joke, but it happens, right?
But yeah, I don't know what Nintendo's doing. Like, seriously, after how the Wii actually handled online with the fucking friends codes, and how like Xbox Live and PSN became like staples to online, like how it's ran, how everything works, like you think Nintendo would actually step it up and provide something for their users, but instead
Why?
they kind of stay with the status quo, which
well,
is
it's not
shit.
really the status quo.
Well, their
They're
status
still
quo.
producing such phenomenal games, right? They just have weird idiosyncrasies about them.
Yeah,
I still don't know
I
what my
think-
friend code is.
yeah,
It's
nah.
like a 12-digit number. Isn't
It is weird. It's
They
like-
should just-
It's like BBM for fucking Nintendo.
Yeah.
I've sent to like 3 different people and they've never gotten back to me. I'm convinced that they never received my little. I think they both independently send each other friend requests in like a 10-second window.
Sorry, Chad. Who has played Nether? Because I want to buy
I
it.
don't know.
What is that for? PC?
It's a PC
Yeah.
game. It's like Daisy.
But can my
Compo
PC
played it.
run?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
should
this is the
talk
one
to
where
him
you
about
fuck the
it.
guy over and then.
Yeah,
Well, that's the game.
yeah, where
Capo's
he's
best
like,
story ever.
yeah. Did you heard that story, or were you
You
hearing that?
might not. Have
Basically, Campo was he went to like it's like Daisy, right? He got plopped into the thing, and he met this guy that was very friendly to him. He's like, "Oh, don't worry, I won't kill you. I'm gonna help you." So he like gave him some stuff, and this guy came out of nowhere, started shooting at Campo. So he kills him. He's like, "Go steal that guy's shit. He has good stuff." And so he's talking to the guy. He's like, "Yeah, so I mean, like, I've never been killed. I've basically been here since the alpha. Been like 3-4 months. I've never been killed." He's like, "Oh, really?" Shoots the guy and kills him. Takes his shit. He's like, "I'm king of the server now." Later realizes that there's a bank system, so the guy already had a bunch of random
and
shit
the
in
guy
his
started
bank,
hunting him.
and the guy started hunting him.
Oh,
Like-
But literally, the guy helped
But he
him.
said it made the game so much funner because now when he's doing all his other stuff, it adds to the heightened sense of like intensity because he always knows in the background that some guy is hunting him.
I was watching gameplay today and it looked pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Apparently, Rust is supposed to be pretty cool.
That
Yeah.
too.
I watched a bit of it. It's okay for now.
Yeah.
It's only in beta.
It was.
Are these all
I
like
was-
Daisy?
Yeah, they're all
So-
like Daisy.
survival
And Daisy,
horror.
like the finished product's not gonna come out for like a year.
No. Well, it's in early access right now, so you can still get it and play it, but
No,
it's
there's
not
a lot,
actually
There's a
finished.
lot of problems
Yeah.
with it.
And what are the difference between so Daisy, Rust, and what's that other one you're talking? Nether?
No, there's Daisy, Rust. And
Are they all zombies? Like, what is the
I,
premise?
I think Nether has zombies. It's
Rust has zombies. Daisy has zombies.
So they're all identical?
survival games.
Mm.
Okay,
It's a
but
new
no,
genre.
Rust
What
is just a
differences-
survival game.
They have there's zombies.
Do they do? Control, delete the guy, whatever. I usually read his news post because he talks about games and stuff. And he was talking about Rust. And the way Rust works is they're trying to make it so it's a little bit more community based. You go into a server and that's your server. And you can make permanent housing
Yeah.
for yourself. So you kind of want to know who your neighbors are because if you're going to squat in an area, you don't want to squat in your assholes.
It gets
Okay?
overwhelming.
No, but see, the thing is, there's this naked guy that came up to him because you all start the game naked, and he's like, can we be friends or whatever? He's like, and at first he wanted to like, ignore the guy and leave him alone, and then eventually he started trading with him. He gave him some meat, and then all of a sudden that guy came back with another guy, and they started bombing his house. And he's
that
like,
makes sense.
he had like walls and walls of stuff and like their defenses, right? And now he's just stuck in his house waiting for these guys to hopefully run out of equipment to get into his house.
Oh my god,
No, but
that is frightening.
because it's
What is this,
terrifying,
Rust? This
yeah,
is
Rust.
But because there's
What?
because it's in a beta, there's a lot of issues with it, like people hacking.
Mhm.
Because the way it works is that you can build a door, but you have to build it out of like 30 pieces of wood, which turn into like 10 pieces of plank, and then you can turn it into a door.
Oh, it sounds like
Minecraft.
Yeah,
Minecraft.
that's what they did. They made it like a Minecraft. You have to gather minerals. You can kill sheep and pig to get meat, but you can kill a cow and it'll give you pig meat. Like it's like random. It's like it gives you pork.
Well, this is a post-apocalyptic.
Anyways,
setting.
no, but like, people
and they're video game developers, not
yes,
not
it's in a
farmers.
beta.
So.
To be fair, it is in a beta, but people would get speed hacks
Okay.
because you can axe down their door literally.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
So instead of hitting it 150 times,
Yeah,
you
right.
that's what I was about to say. The guy, he like gave the guy a bunch of shit to build a house,
Yeah.
and then he built a house around the other guy's house, so he was stuck.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You can make doors.
yeah, nobody can open it. But you.
Yeah, if you put a door, you can only
hilarious.
open it yourself. That's why you can make
no.
housing, because if you make a
Oh,
door,
no.
you can't open it unless you you have to hack it
Yeah,
down.
but I'm saying that people would get speed hacks.
Yeah.
and they would break it down in 3
Hack it down
seconds.
faster. But see, the thing is, the guy in Control Delete was saying that yes, they can break down doors with axes, but he had a wall on the outside.
With another door.
No. But the thing is, he had a wall, right? And the only way to get through walls is by dynamiting them, right? So he had a bunch of doors, so they had to hack through. But on his inside defense, he built a wall at the end because like they were coming in, right? So now they'd have to waste more C4 to actually get to him. So if they didn't have any, they wouldn't be able to get his
You have to go
stash.
farm it, and
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Sandra, have you played any of these like survival?
horror games.
No,
None?
no.
Has Andy played any?
I don't know. Ask Andy.
Andy, have you played any
If
survival
he was
horror?
if he was here, I would, but he's not.
He's
No,
not here.
we're not. We shouldn't ask him because he's
No,
not
we
here.
shouldn't because he's not here.
Is that,
He's
anyways.
now-
I feel it's kind of weird because I enjoy the genre in terms of like,
Survival?
post-apocalyptic survival, but I enjoy it in other mediums, but I don't enjoy it in video games for some reason. and I thought that I would, but I mean, I like The Last
It's
of Us,
tedious.
but it doesn't really feel like.
It's very tedious because people are assholes.
Yeah, people are always
Oh yeah,
asking.
it's all shoot on site.
Yeah, it's shoot first, ask questions later, or in this case, shoot first and steal their shit and run.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh yeah.
Well, here it is.
How do you guys feel about most like AAA developers now trying to incorporate stories into their video games? And do you feel that that's affecting the quality of the actual core game play of the video
For
game?
example.
Yeah, seriously, because
No,
like
here.
most games
Well,
try and have a story, right?
There's a second part to that. The Last of Us was praised. I would say lauded, but I'm afraid that I'm not pronouncing it. Was praised for perfectly marrying gameplay with
Yeah,
the story.
no, I understand what he's saying. Like, first of all, Call of Duty.
But Bioshock Infinite, for example, was a fantastic video game in terms of it being very fun to play, but I felt its story sometimes got in the way of itself, and it ended up being overly pretentious. It could have just been a really fun game, but now I have this like dirty taste in my mouth because I'm overthinking its plot.
Yeah.
So are you
Well-
talking about because Bioshock seemed like it kind of like there was the game part and then there was the story and they were kind of separated from one
Well,
another.
it's-
Whereas The Last of Us and like the Uncharted series, for instance, seem to kind of mesh them together.
A little bit, but there's this. There's this point in The Last of Us. Has everyone played The Last of
I
Us?
have not.
Yeah, well,
Well, there's a scene where I'm not going to ruin.
I
I'm not
don't
gonna
care.
spoil
I'm
anything.
not gonna.
There's a scene where there's this bandit who's like strangling Ellie, and you're just like you're kind of like several feet away, and you're in complete control of running up to the person and literally just pushing square to kick him off. But I felt so angry in that moment that it perfectly translated the story up into that point, and it fed so well into the action of playing the video game that it's very rare that happens.
Mm.
Like in Bioshock, for example, you're just walking and he's talking, but you never feel like it's happening at the same time. If
Yeah.
that makes sense, you know. And I feel that a lot of games suffer because they're trying to write stories when, for most of these video games, story isn't really the medium for. Sorry, video games aren't the perfect medium for storytelling necessarily, not
Yeah.
in the traditional sense. I'm just curious if you guys feel that developers are. Yes,
Indeed.
the developers are suffering, or a lot of the blockbuster developers are struggling to cope with this.
I don't know. I really liked the story in Bioshock Infinite,
I do
and
too. I have to.
and
agree.
it didn't.
That's good.
It didn't take me away from the gameplay, but it didn't really mold into the gameplay as well. A lot of it was cutscenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you'd be walking around and there's all these conversations going around, like around you, and it's
Right.
like you can walk next to this couple, they're talking about something. It's like, okay, whatever. They don't get that point, but I want to hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
see, that's the
I don't
thing.
want to fucking stand here listening to them talk.
Yeah.
It'd be much better if it was more things that were blended into,
Right.
like you have to listen to them, not you have the option to.
Mm.
I agree.
Because in the DLC, the first one, when you're back in Rapture, a lot of that happens. There's a lot of people around that are always having conversations. You want to hear what they're talking about, but you also want to get from point A to point B without having to sit there and listen to a conversation.
See, that's the
Yeah.
thing. You're mixing atmosphere
Yeah,
with
that's a
story
difference.
because they're trying to build a world. They're trying to give you atmosphere, like you're in a living, breathing world, which is good. They did a very good job of doing that in Bioshock. But see, the thing is, yes, video games aren't exactly the best medium to tell a story, but when you can see Naughty Dog is a phenomenal studio to the point where they can actually bridge the two together
Right.
properly,
Right.
right? And the thing is, like, I went to a workshop one time where it was like, it's called Acting for Animators, and he was talking about how, like, storytelling in video games, it suffers, but at the same time, if you can actually nail it properly, then you'll have a proper experience with games. But the thing is, he was talking about you need to portray a sense of empathy. If you can get the actual person playing the game to feel some sort of empathy
Yeah.
for the characters, that's why The Last of Us and Uncharted is so strong, because they're not these like superhero type crazy people, right? They're everyday people doing maybe extraordinary things. Yes, not your average person might not be able to do any of this, but at the same time you can feel closer to these characters than, let's say, in Bioshock Infinite. You can't really feel empathetic for that guy because he's in such an out of body experience almost with everything around him. And so, like, if you can get that part of empathy into your storytelling, then it's a bit better. But then at the same time, you get into that whole rut where you're breaking up the gameplay and the story into separate sequences.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just that the thing you were saying about the atmosphere. The one good thing about the way Batman Origins was, despite all the flaws it had, was the way they told the story. Because you could literally walk around, whatever, just the city of Gotham, and you can hear people talking, and they will literally tell you the stories of what's happening
Mhm.
in the city. It may just be atmospheric,
It
but
has,
it
yeah.
actually is more storytelling involved than just.
Well, it's part of the story,
Well,
but it is literally
but it-
atmosphere. It is
No,
world
it literally
building.
is atmosphere, but they are telling the story in like you gain more of the city that's
Yeah.
going on. Like they'll tell you about stuff that you would not have known about unless you stop to listen to them.
Okay.
I mean, Kyle brings up a very good point. Bioshock, the original Bioshock, did a lot of world building without the need for you to stop and like overhear splicers talking for 40 minutes.
That's
about-
because there were no splicers talking for 40 minutes.
But see, the beauty in that was that it allowed world building, and a lot of it was completely optional. Whereas Bioshock Infinite, I agree, you stand there and you're this think about it for a second. You're creepily standing, staring at people so you can hear them,
You're
and
a
they're just
creeper.
talking. And it's
Yeah.
like, this is so weird. This is so
I
uncomfortable.
didn't feel the same connection with the character in the game itself that in the DLC. It was completely different.
Right.
In the first run through, you really felt like you were the guy. You know,
Right.
you're going through all
You're
the motions
Booker.
and everything. Yeah. But in the second one, it was just really weird the way they did it. Like the gameplay was awesome, but the story was kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
And then like you find out that you have Elizabeth with you, and she can like phase shift.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, it's a new plasmid," and then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, okay, well use it here, use it here, use it here,"
Yeah.
without any explanation whatsoever. And
The
that
DLC was
that bothered the shit out
the
of me.
DLC wasn't that great considering it was an hour long.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but still a great game.
Right.
Anything? To
No, I
add?
agree. No, I agree. The thing about Bioshock is it's a little more schizophrenic. Like you're playing, people are talking, but you're fighting. There's a lot of noise. You can't really hear. You pick up those tapes that give you a lot of backstory.
Yeah.
Without those tapes, you don't really know what's going on.
Right. Exactly.
And you can't hear them half the time because you're busy doing other shit.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta
that's another
stop-
thing.
you gotta
That's the
stop
thing.
and listen to
Lost,
them.
yeah.
That's the thing. The first one had more of the tapes where you get background story, whereas Infinite
Well,
had more the people talking
It's not that
around
they
you,
had
right?
more; they were better. They actually involved
Yeah.
the story. Infinite, they didn't involve the story at
No,
all.
really?
No, it was all
It was side
backstory.
quests
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it
stuff
was all
like that.
It was-
And like you'd pick it up, and in like the original ones, you'd pick it up, and then you could just walk along to the next thing while listening to it. Whereas in Bioshock Infinite, you pick it up,
You're
and then
fighting.
you're fighting
You're
in the
in a
next like 2
gunfight.
seconds. They should have had like point
Yeah.
A to point
No,
B
yeah.
is 30 seconds long. Okay, this
They-
audio
yeah.
box is going to be 30 seconds long.
They involved a lot of people that weren't in the game.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
it's going to be DLC,
Mhm.
but right now they're not in the game at all. Like you see them
Yeah.
for a second, maybe two.
No, I don't know where I had read it from, but unfortunately, Bioshock Infinite went through a pretty disastrous development period
Yes.
where there was a lot of original ideas that unfortunately fell out through it.
The original
that's-
one looked like it was going to be amazing,
Yeah.
and then they ruined it.
Well, it's not that it's ruined; it's just that it was
I still love
unfortunate
the
that it was too. I also love it.
I really
I
did.
harp on
Well,
it to no end, but
it
I
was-
feel that it was a good game,
Mhm.
and it's unfortunate that. I felt the story was very good also. I think it introduced replay value organically. It's
Yeah.
not like go through this again with all your weapons. No, you want to go through it again because now you know something that you didn't know the first time
Mhm.
through. But I think that video games are at their best in terms of storytelling when, almost like with Zelda, for example, there's this minimalist plot and a lot of the actual story
Save the
is
queen.
individual. You go and like you spent an hour and you went into this temple. You had this equipment. You go and tell your friends that you had these 3 things that they may not have had, and it adds a nice little dynamic to you explaining your story. Like Skyrim, for example,
Mhm.
has. I feel like the main story wasn't all that good, but you
No,
did a lot
it
of
was
reading.
not.
You read a lot
You're
of
the
Played like
dragon
80
board,
hours
kill the
and never
dragon.
finished the game.
Me neither.
Ever.
And like the beauty of that is that it doesn't force its story onto you, but it weaves its story into it because you can sit and read books because that's what
Yeah.
people do. They read books, and it makes perfect sense to you that you're sitting and reading books.
I don't-
It's just this beautiful.
What's a
Adam's
book?
shaking
I
his
don't.
head.
What's a book?
I don't read
What's
books.
I use books to light my fireplace.
I would actually read through them though. Sometimes.
Everyone's story in Skyrim is different.
Yes.
Everyone's playthrough is different. in
It's
that
like it's a lot like Minecraft, but then I don't like Minecraft personally. I feel like it's too removed. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people do.
If
like
I was 14 when Minecraft came out,
Yeah.
it'd be my most favorite game ever.
Yeah.
But I have a life now.
I
Yeah.
still fucking love it, man.
Yeah, no, it's
so good.
it's supposed to be Terraria, right? Which is very similar to Minecraft from what I understand. It's com-
Terraria's kind of funny.
yeah, it's
I like
different.
Terraria.
But I'm more attracted to Terraria as an idea, and it's coming out for the Vita. And when it does, I'm gonna buy it.
Anyways, getting back to the point of your actual question,
Yes.
I don't think it's just
Please do.
AAA studios that struggle with it. Any studio struggles with it because it's very hard
Yes.
to actually merge them properly. Like I said, Naughty Dog is a very good studio and they actually do it properly.
Right.
They actually do it well.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, like you might argue that indie games do stories better, but the thing is, they're focusing more on the story. Okay, and you might forgive them more for the gameplay because you find that the story is phenomenal, right?
Like To
Whereas
the Moon or
AAA
Dear
studios,
Esther.
sorry,
Like To the Moon or Dear Esther.
Exactly,
The
but-
gameplay meant nothing, but the game was
exactly.
incredible.
But now, then the thing is, AAA studios have the pressure of they need to make, there's like a couple of hundred people working on a game. They have pressure to make the game fun. It has to be financially secure, so they have to make it fun. So they're focusing more on gameplay, whereas a lot of the times in AAA studios, the story will actually go on the wayside.
Yes.
A lot of the times they don't even have writers. Designers will write it. They're not writers.
Yeah.
And it'll be written by committee. Sometimes you'll actually get a writer to actually help you write the game, but not all the time.
But what I'm trying to get at is that why don't we just remove story then? If so many people are struggling with the idea of it, it's like me watching an action movie. It's like me watching what was that action movie with all those really big Hollywood people?
Expendables.
Yeah. The first hour of that movie was horrible because there was story, and
need to
then the
be
last
horrible.
half hour was brilliant because it was just action. Why didn't they remove all of that story? Have
Some people like story. I like
But
story.
the thing is, story
I
bridges
love it.
stuff.
You know who
me
does
too.
story?
I do too. I'm just it just
creates
feels like there's
a sort of realm.
It's a
for it.
purpose. Otherwise, none of this stuff would exist.
You can't
What's
just put these guys together and have them randomly
exactly.
showing
This is-
up. And just,
why not?
This is not a puzzle
It's
game,
never
Sean.
been done though.
No, but it still won't make sense.
Sean,
People will
oh, that
question.
You
only
have
happens-
something at the
that
beginning.
only
You have like
happens in
this is
puzzle
what's
games.
happening, and then you just go
Well, that's the little story.
exactly.
And how do you think stuff progresses? You need to progress through something
Look, I'm just
to give yourself
But
some
wait,
sort of structure.
Before we continue on with this, before we continue, I would like to comment on Sean's thing about Minecraft. For someone that is in a trade that has to involve building things, I found Minecraft actually very good for that. You can actually almost I rebuilt my own entire house in
Why?
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Because that's what you can do. You can design on it incredibly well. Forget the gameplay
I
aspect.
just
Who
saw.
cares?
I just saw a thing on Reddit today. Someone created the whole world from Spirited Away.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that.
everything.
Really?
Oh my god, it's
Everything they did.
incredible.
Lord of the
Wow.
Rings. They built
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
They built.
What's it called? King's Landing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could rebuild everything in
Yeah.
that
They
game.
built
I mean,
like
it's minimalist.
starships. Like
Yeah.
Star
But some
Trek
of us
It's
go to
Enterprise.
really
school.
cool.
and work a lot.
Yeah.
Don't have
Yeah,
time
obviously, but
to
still,
build
it's like
the
designing.
fucking Millennium Falcon in
No,
Minecraft.
you could download the maps and play them.
Yeah.
It becomes just about designing. Like a lot of these people who
Yeah.
submit these maps get jobs in video games,
Mm.
and as a pastime, they just make levels in Minecraft. That's all.
Oh,
It is.
it's really
True.
It's really cool.
No, I mean I'm not dismissing it. I'm
Yes,
just
you
saying
are.
that people who play it
Okay.
should burn in hell and
But Sean, why would
play Nintendo Wii's.
back to your other point? Why would you actually play a game that just removed the entire story?
Well, it's
Would
just
you play Call of Duty
I'm
or
thinking on the
Battlefield?
spot. I like story also. I think that it's very important. I feel that a lot of stories are just so awful, and that it taints my experience of the game.
Does it really? Would it taint it more if they just remove the entire story? Because then you're just playing a multiplayer online game because there's no story. Literally, okay, there's like single player of Call of Duty is just you kill guys and go through without the story. You might as well just be playing a bot game. That's what you're doing. At least if there's a story, there's a reason to, progress.
But there's a story in Call
Yeah,
of
but
Duty.
then, like we were saying earlier, there's some games that have a very minimalist story, like Link to the Past or the
Yeah,
Two
but
Worlds.
you don't shit
But
on
it's
that.
incredible. No,
No.
That has barely.
But
Because
that's
it's
what
a
I'm
quest.
Uh,
It's not just a
the-
mission. It's not
people
just a
got
story. It's a
kidnapped.
quest.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to
You're-
get at is
You're
that
building your story.
there are so many people making video games, and yet so much of them are so obviously incompetent when it comes to making stories.
Yeah, no,
That it's
that's
shitting on the industry. Either make a story that's competent, that you've actually sat down and thought through, or just remove it because you're actually doing a disservice to the industry. Skyrim has a story, but it also has several narratives, and so
yeah.
the
Yeah.
person who plays it introduces his or her own experiences into
You
something.
don't have to include her.
That's okay. Creates a narrative,
fine.
right? Which
Yeah.
is their own
Narratives.
input on what's happening. There's a story that happens which isn't very good, but there's a narrative that happens that becomes very interesting, and people sit down and discuss it.
I won't enjoy a story unless I feel like I'm that person in the game.
Right.
Well, that's where empathy comes in, because if you can empathize with the
Immersing
character,
yourself into the world.
Yeah.
you feel like you're that character. You can believe, like you feel a part of him because you can, empathize with his what's going on with the
Yeah.
guy in the story. If you can't connect with him on that level, then the story is obviously just bad.
Yeah.
And that's why RPGs are so strong, right?
Mhm.
You may
Final
never feel-
Fantasy.
Exactly. You may never feel like you're these characters, but you do feel like they are consistent or persistent, rather.
Hmm.
When you close the game, they're still
Oh,
alive in
it's
your
like watching
mind.
a TV show for an extended period. of time.
Exactly. That's what's so good about them, and I feel that it's just unfortunate that a lot of other genres haven't adopted that kind of style to storytelling. You know?
On that note, that's it for the podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook.
Instagram, Twitter,
Instagram, MySpace, all that jazz. We don't have MySpace.
MSN, MSN Live,
We have a
Gmail,
Twitter though.
AOL.
and Google,
Yeah.
Do you
Anyways,
really?
see you guys later.
probably.